Malaysia bersama yang berbahagia Prof.Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman, Pengerusi International Science, Technology and Innovation Center ISTIC UNESCO. Tapi sebelum itu, sudilah saya memperkenalkan latar belakang yang berbahagia Prof.Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman. Untuk pengetahuan semua, Prof.Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin dilahirkan di Bukit Mentajam, Pulau Pinang. Orang Pulau Pinang Beliau bertugas sebagai pengurusi International Science, Technology dan Innovation sejak tahun lepas, Julai 2023. Untuk makluman semua, beliau telah pun berkeluarga, mempunyai seorang anak, seorang isteri dan seekor kucing katanya. Beliau sangat aktif dalam memberikan seminar, motivasi dan juga ceramah berkaitan dengan akademik leadership. Tanpa membuangkan masa lagi, majlis menjemput yang berbahagia, Prof.Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman, Pengerusi International Science, Technology dan Innovation Center UNESCO untuk melaksanakan program ini. Ya, sekali bermakna dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih pengerusi majlis yang berbahagia, Ibu Ahli, pengerusi PGSM, Persatuan Guru-Guru STEM Malaysia, yang saya hormati, juga Encik Chemistry yang berguru-guru yang power dalam chemistry, dan juga semua ahli-ahli PGSM yang berada di Fakulti Sains sekarang di Universiti Malaysia. Terima kasih kerana menghadirkan diri, dan juga yang berada di alam maya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat petang ini, selamat malam. Nanti saya ini ramai yang tidur malam, and also good evening. Saya minta kepada juga untuk mungkin dalam banyak bahasa Inggeris, sebab selain ini untuk bahasa Inggeris. Teman-teman semua, kita juga mengadu-adukan hadiran semua ke DPN, terutamanya Fakulti Sains. Saya kat sini lama, Fakulti Sains lama lebih kurang 5 tahun jadi dekan, sebagai dekan itu sebelum itu lebih kurang 3 tahun, dan dihubungi untuk menjadi tuan rumah, kita tidak ada masalah. Sebab sekarang agak sukar untuk mendapat tempat. Sekarang universiti kena charge itu semua, so harapnya yang ini okey. Alright, so thank you very much. This is my new appointment last year, which is at the International Science, Technology and Innovation Center for South-South Cooperation under the auspices of UNESCO. I will elaborate a little bit more about this. Okay, currently I'm as a chairman for the governing board. Okay, so I'm sure that you have heard about IBSE. Of course, as a teacher, IBSE is a part of it. And one of the training for the IBSE is actually brought to Malaysia through ISTIC UNESCO way back then. Yeah, I mean our collaboration with Rahman in Paris. So this one, the establishment came back way back more than 15 years ago. It's actually a follow-up with the G77 with China Summit in Doha, and then on through the UNESCO Assembly, Malaysia agreed to host a Category 2 center. They call it a Category 2 center or institute under Malaysia, with the first agreement, the 6 years, way back in 2008, 2015 for our second agreement. Then completed our strategic plan for the future. Then we managed to secure the third agreement. Yeah, so this is actually quite complicated process, but this is actually one of our contribution, not just to Malaysia, but as you can see, this is all the green part is actually the South-South. So I have to cover not just in Malaysia or Asia, but also Africa and also Latin America. Yeah. So when we talk about the South-South, or some people call it also as a global South, it's also including China. So there are many areas, but in our case, we focus more on the cultural, environmental, and also the technical domains. And for example, AI and so on. Okay, so this is, I think, is good for you to know that what is Category 1 and Category 2 Institute of Centers. So Category 1 Center is actually part of UNESCO. It is basically all the money comes from UNESCO. Yeah. So the first one will be the, I think the most famous is Abdul International Center for Theoretical Physics in Trieste, Italy. So they call it normally ICTP. So through our program, Big Academy of Sciences Malaysia, so normally we send our undergraduate students or postgraduate students to attend different type of training, engagement at this ICTP. Yeah. Then we have another one, not we lah, UNESCO have another one, Institute of Statistics in Montreal, in Canada. And the recent one is very new. It's actually the International Institute of STEM Education in Shanghai, which is announced on the 9th of November last year. Okay, so we want to work closely with this STEM education, and hopefully there will be more opportunity for the PGSM as well under these. They call it ISTEM, Shanghai. I'm not sure the building is already there or not, because tomorrow I'll be in Beijing, but one of that we're going to discuss how can we tap into this potential place. Another one is called Category 2 Center. And Category 2 Center is okay, Category 2 Center, the difference is funded by the local government. Okay, so in this case, it's a bit texty because I took it from the website. So the focus is to achievement of UNESCO objective. Of course, we have many, but we can focus on global, regional or sub-regional, and to provide technical assistance and services. So that's why here, and another one, capacity building is actually part of our routine job. Basically, we're offering different type of workshops. Yeah, not limited to STEM or education per se, but also in the engineering, on innovation, and many others. So again, most people, most of us know UNESCO, especially teachers. You might look at only this part on this education, yeah, because that is where the school Suruhanjaya Kebangsaan UNESCO Malaysia is under the Ministry of Education. But there are many other part, for example, culture and so on. But there is another one called natural sciences. Under natural sciences itself, it has its different category. Okay, and Malaysia also hosted another one called humid tropics, but this one is very departmental level under the I think Ahli. KASA, di Kementerian Alam Sekitar, Environment dan sebagainya. But under the science policy, this is where we stay. So ISTIC focus more on the science policy. So that's why our coverage is quite big, including education, higher education, many other things. But our focus is more on the STI and the driving force for developing countries. Sorry, I have to reason. And a leading international platform. The target is actually to produce the holistic talents toward institutional excellence, particularly for the South-South cooperation. And other than us, there is another one in Iran, Isfahan Regional Center for Technology Incubation and Science Park, focusing on the entrepreneurship. They are very regional. It's only in the Iran area. Another one is SISTRAT, International Research Training Center for Science Technology Strategy, based in China. But again, they are very localized as well, or at least they go up, or at least regional to South Asia. Okay? They are offering many different types of training. Now, what is South-South cooperation? In this case, we are the only one under the Category 2 Center. We have about 68. And inshallah, we will be hosting a big Category 2 Center meeting this coming May, because there are many discussions on what will happen next. For example, the Sustainable Development Goal, I think everybody knows about it. But last year, the UNESCO just launched UN actually, UN not UNESCO, so meaning that is bigger. They just launched the International Decade of Science for Sustainable Development. The focus is actually for the last 10 years of the SDG. They just launch it for 2024 until 2033. Yeah. So when we talk about the South-South cooperation, our focus is multi-sectoral, not limited to one particular ministry per se. Yeah. For example, pandemic. We are not just working with the Ministry of Health or issues. It's just not Ministry of Health. Involved Ministry of Education, Environment, many others, and not limited to just within the government or civil society, but also with the private entity, including like industry and so on. So here are, I think, some important figures are here. Currently, I'm the chair. So the patron is Dr. Irina Bokoma, the former UNESCO Director General. So she was here last year, and we are very close with her. So ISTIC is not that visible in Malaysia previously, but we are very visible at the international level. So I think one of my tasks is to make sure that it is more visible locally and at least in the South Asia or ASEAN region. We have the honorary chairman, Dr. Insinyur Lee Chong, so he is very influential, in order to get to know to other international centers. Then we have UNESCO Assistant Director General for Natural Sciences, Professor Lydia Antabarito, and another one is Dato' P.S. Dr. Haji Ahmed Pasti, the Secretary General of Mohd, and we also have a different what you call expert, like President in KISTAC. KISTAC is a Korea institution that focusing on the science policy as well. Dr. Mani was the former president of World Federation of Engineering Organization. So we do not have that many ladies that lead a very big association or organization. Okay. Professor Wu Chidi was the Minister of Education in China, Deputy Minister of Education in China. So next we're going to meet her, and there are many things that we're going to discuss. I think this is more important to see that our objective, establishing and fostering cooperation, developing networks and collaborative R&D. So this is something new that we reintroduced this year. We want to focus, but not limited to just doing research. We are looking at the research ecosystem. Yeah, not limited to just universities or research institute. I think it can also involve at school level. Promoting interface between science, politics, and society, building capacity, and exchange and dissemination of information. So we also sponsor many teachers for certain trainings overseas. I think last year we sent one or two, one cikgu, to Paris for international workshop on climate education. Yeah, and I think this year we hope to sponsor for the COP29. COP29, but that one is a teacher COP29. I think this will be in Azerbaijan. Yeah, I think so. In Azerbaijan. So we're going to do that kind of. Normally we ask the MOE to give the recommendation names, and then we're going to shortlist some interview as well. So our strategic trust will be. We are more like kind of a platform. We create a platform. So in terms of activity, we prefer to have like kind of a co-create. It's not like we are not a sponsoring body here. So don't ask me about money unless if you have a program and it's not limited to only one entity, but we prefer to work with like organization. Yeah, even universities, I cannot work with only one university, maybe 2 or 3 universities. Maybe with the universities outside of Malaysia as well. We're targeting about SDI towards the nation prosperity. So this was last year, Irina was here. Talent for center development, and this is quite important as well, effective on the science communication. I'll elaborate a little bit more later on. We run many different type of workshop. For example, this one is the computer science education workshop, where we use Lama module, ISTIC module. It's free, basically for teachers. Okay. Sometimes we have to ask whether you want to come or not because we provide mostly everything. But this year we decided that we are not going to do this anymore in Kuala Lumpur because we're going to Kuching. This year will be in Kuching in Syria. And then another one is called Obor. Later on I will explain. That one will be in Tawau. Okay, because I think this year we have to go on the other side of Malaysia. So our agenda, I think this is very important to see that we support UNESCO initiative, particularly on the climate change education. Then we have the open science. Yeah, open science mainly on the researchers. This is our huge chunk when we not limited to policy. Now we start to work on the science advocacy and diplomacy. You know why? Because in Malaysia or maybe most of the developing countries, our policy is always good on paper, but when it comes to the implementation, you know what I'm talking about. So we need to do more advocacy and diplomacy first prior to the policy. Artificial and digital innovation is very important. We are not limited to just AI, but also in terms of the digitization of many things. And of course, you can see the big chunk also from here, education for SD. I will explain or delve a little bit more on this part. And another one is the research ecosystem. So from here, you can see more of it. Research ecosystem, we do not have that kind of research leadership in Malaysia, not that many compared to overseas. Then I cross the color, and then we start to focus on the indigenous knowledge, culture and heritage. So we have an incredible number of huge information on our indigenous information, but we are missing that part. So, in terms of digitizing most of the information, what we worried also is actually the language. Basically, there are many languages that dying in daily basis. So how to encounter this part? I'm going to leave this one last. I know you are looking at this one. I mentioned this now, but the networking, we are not interested with a single proposal. We are looking at the team proposal. Yeah, for example, Malaysia, maybe Mauritius, another one in Argentina. How these three to work together and they come up with their team proposal. Then we can try, for example, the Kids Foundation. So this is what we're going to do. Then I mentioned just now the science communication. There are quite many now on science communication, but our focus is on the science journalism, meaning that in the future, the researchers know how to write in the layman's word. Communicate is okay, you just keep talking. There are many activities, teachers can do that as well. But science journalism, the journalists need to write the correct information on science. There are many interviews that I did before. Apa saya cakap, apa yang keluar totally berbeza. So how to train them? Yeah. So now our plan is for one journalist we pair with one scientist, or maybe with a teacher as well. Yeah. So then you know what to do, and based on that kind of activity, maybe we can request a special corner. Yeah, with the scientist penulis, but in the layman's word, it's nothing serious on the data, and so on. This one I mentioned this now, and this is particularly what we've been heading to. As a PGSN, cikgu-cikgu kalau kena train lagi how to teach STEM, is a bit very tiring. We thought that we can also discuss with the non-STEM teachers, because other than STEM teachers, we have DM or BI teachers. For example, karangan. Anak saya tulis karangan sama lagi. Macam apa? Berkelah di tepi sungai. Saya bagi tahu dia, tulislah pollution, bla bla. Dia kata tak boleh, nanti kita tolak makan. Dia masih lagi kena tulis karangan bahasa karangan berkelah di tepi sungai atau di tepi pantai tu ada keluarga bawa makan ni makan tu. Saya cakap no, talk about the leptospirosis. Ya, kencing tikus semua. Tak boleh. But we can introduced it slowly. So satu lagi kaedah, I'm not sure whether you have pernah dengar atau tak ataupun dah practice mengajar sains through empathy. This is being practiced in Indonesia, so I have a collaborator over there. Instead of teaching mathematics, ini berapa, so they start with the Indonesia ada banyak kes gempa bumi, volcano, so they come up with that as a main issue. They put the empathy dalam perasaan pelajar tu, and based on that they do the mathematical calculation. Berapa kehilangan harta benda, berapa kehilangan nyawa. So they use that as the basis. So contohnya kat Malaysia, banjir. So if we can make, through that, then slowly dia akan masuk kepada non-STEM. So this is a big thing, but I think we can start. And then IBSE, I think 2016, we have this Duta Science project, particularly in Jabalun dan juga Persatuan, because I handled that place. Kita ada buat IBSE. But then of course teachers very happy to do IBSE, but at the same time, especially right now, so yeah, cikgu banyaklah kena ini. And then IBSE ini very time consuming and also very costly. So now we are in the phase of digitizing it. So it will be easier and anytime cikgu boleh gunakan. Yeah. So now we are working with the Young Scientist Network, ASN, and also with the Rahman. So we are creating a different type of module. I think this is where maybe PGSN can contribute some of the modules. Currently we are working on, if I'm not mistaken, chemistry and mathematics, because physics and biology already done, or maybe chemistry and biology. I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. So this. For the past about 15 years, the total number of participants about more than 7,000, and at least about 30 to 40% from Malaysia. So this is also, we can say, our contribution, or Malaysia's contribution to the world, particularly the South countries. So total countries involved about 105. We've been to Caribbean and so on. The information, and this is also attract many high-level directors and so on, because we are highlighting that participation by gender, 65% basically women or girls. So that's another things to do. So we hope also to work with, for example, L'Oreal for the girls in school. Okay, I'm going to speed it up because kalau tengok saya punya event, this is as what we planned until last week. Normally it will come minggu-minggu kita dapat jemputan and so on. But here are some of the events that we organize. Blah, blah, blah. For example, this one that I mentioned just now, the traditional knowledge for sustainable livelihoods. We work closely with the Zahir Science Foundation in Delhi, and then with the non-SNP Center, the non-allied members, SNP Center, they also have many activities for teachers, if I'm not mistaken. This one that I mentioned just now is very big, Natural Sciences Capability Center. Then, second part, ada banyak untuk cikgu. Training workshops. Yeah, okay. The overall one is actually the workshop on the SMP discovery along the Silk Roads. Overall is actually one belt, one road. So any science and technology during the Silk Road is actually being documented by ISTIC in collaboration with several other institutions or international center in China and along the road. Then we have another one, international training workshop on big data and artificial intelligence. So we can also open this one for teachers in Xi'an, China. Then try to go through training workshop on computer science education will be in Taiwan. Okay, and many others. The one I mentioned is now COP29, focusing on the teachers' corps in Baku, Azerbaijan. And many other things. Saya belum letak lagi but I think we now in the discussion to put the ICMO and GIC in our what you call this, our program. So I'm going to be quick now. So our partner, this is the one that I mentioned just now, Rahman. They work very closely with the schools, basically in France, and their model have been used with many other countries. So we have more than 70 international partnerships. Then we also working closely with the ASM because we are hosted by ASM through Malaysia Science Endowment. Yeah, this is some of our initiative in terms of matching grant between Malaysia and like in Jordan, South Africa, and Kenya. We just received some funding from the National Research Foundation, and in this case, we try also to put more into the science or STEM education. So this is the what you call this. This is more on the science policy with the key step since we're back in 2009, and the focus is more on the policy training. But in case, teachers, there are many policies on you, but do you involve in the beginning or not? Yeah, so maybe from the ministry, but we can open this as well for the teachers who are still teaching, who know what is actually the actual problem. Okay, so this one is when we talk about climate change, this is going to be a lot of works on this climate education. I'm going to just put on the climate change education, but it's more on the climate education. And then the transformation climate action is not a single thing to do, but we need an international cooperation. I think you can read this one. But a whole government and whole societal approach is actually needed to address climate change. And while I was in South Africa last year, when we talked, we discussed it's actually the teachers and the women that plays a huge role in terms of climate change or climate education, particularly on the awareness. So this is what has been done 2020 to 24 Latin America for climate education. You can also Google it. And based on here, you can see that there are many. The objective is 16,000 classrooms with 500 students throughout Latin America. Not limited to teachers, they also involve the society. So, but teachers is actually the one that lead the society. Yeah. And then we have another one called African Regional Resilient Initiative on Climate Education Areas. So we started with Kenya last year in Nairobi. So I was there, and they have this one is slightly lower, 100 pilot schools in each country, not throughout. The reason is this one is more on the English speaking, this one is more on the French part, and Mauritius representing an island. So it might be slightly different. These two, especially in Africa, we do not have that much problem to get the budget because they are like kind of a magnet when it comes to the funding. We have Future Africa giving from European country. They do it as to about 3 million euro. But now, based on this, the Office of Climate Education, also Category 2 Center in Paris, proposed that Malaysia can lead, ISTIC to lead, called as a Pacific Initiative for Climate Education, 25 to 2030, basically 29, but we're going to ramp up in 2030, also related to the SDGs. Malaysia and Indonesia, we have a very good partnership between these. So Indonesia, they have something similar like PGSM called Saka Guru. Saka, bukan Saka yang Saka tu lah. Saka Guru. So they have many projects like Eco School. So they have 1,000 schools already involved because they easily get funded by like Michelin Foundation, but focus on the area where they have the rubber tree. So if we can tap that, bring it like Michelin Foundation to Malaysia, so maybe we can work on that kind of initiative as well. We're very close. And then, of course, we're not going to work with all these nations, but we just work on the way the Micronesia. So you know, right? Micronesia is on the spot. Then here is Melanesia, and bawah lagi is called Polynesia. Okay, so but we just going to work with Micronesia because it's huge. And again, hopefully they are also kind of magnet to attract many funders. But in terms, as you can see, this is a minimum 100 schools per country. We think that we can hit this number. As mentioned here, but the most important, I think, our teachers, I think, quite well with the Greening Education Partnership, the 4GP pillars. So we work on this part. Yeah, this is the most important for the teachers, the time organizers. We already have MOE, but there are many others like to join us as well. Enhancing skill understanding and competency of teacher trainers and educators, implementing IBSE as the main approach to teach this CCE. The outputs, the outcomes, and I think the one that we're going to look into in here is actually on the impact, because all these three is already well documented through ALAC in Latin America, and now they are working on in Africa. So based on that model, we learn what is the do's and the don'ts for Malaysia and as a country. Then many other activities. I think I mentioned this now. I mentioned it just now. So it would be good when the Director General herself from UNESCO come down. So we do hope that we can have more engagement with the Ministry of Education, how to plan to make sure that Malaysia is always represented in most of the UNESCO discussion. For the keynote, this is the one that I mentioned just now, International Decade of Science, Search for Sustainable Development. So whatever that you do, this will be a new focus. They have many decades. They have ocean decade, blah blah, and so on. But this one is more related. This is the one that we were discussing a lot, particularly on, we talk about STEM, but there is no kind of, how to say this, opportunity for the STEM graduate, even for in career we are talking about. Now, the focus here is actually for the women in science, technology, innovation, and plus economy this time, and for the trailblazer of tomorrow's innovation. So we can see, especially in Malaysia, students, even researchers in university now dominated by the ladies. But what happened to them? How to maintain this? And we also, in conjunction with the Malaysia-China Golden Jubilee 50 years anniversary, so just now we have a discussion. There are many things that to highlight Malaysia-China, and we know, in case of you meet to China, you can see, you can witness the importance of science have been translated. They have so many green buildings. Malaysia tak tahu berapa banyak, kiri dan jari dengan tangan dia dari kaki kan. But over there is mainly based on SDRE. For example, any kind of a new bridge, new rail track, the professors will be actually behind that project, and they make use of the theoretical. It's not happening that here in Malaysia. Yeah. So if we can do that way, it will be good. Yeah. Any online kan tak bercakap, kalau sini saya bercakap. Alright, then we have open science. Open science basically is quite huge, but it's already being implemented in the global north, but not in the south, because we have many issues slightly different. Maksudnya kalau kita dah letak kita punya idea, we can lock the idea. Whoever that want to use our idea, they have to pay to us. Itu dia punya good idea, but of course we're talking still about the data colonialism, penjajahan data. Kita letak takut orang lain ambil, kita masih lagi rasa was takut. So there are many issues that we're going to discuss on this open scientific knowledge, but we are going to focus more on the open science infrastructure. Kat Malaysia sama juga, or developing countries, we always talk about AI, for example, right now, but we do not have that kind of infrastructure. Our neighbor, Singapore, cakap tak buat, they have everything already. So now all our talent is dah ke sana. Okay, so infrastructure is very important, but we need to share. Yeah. Okay, this is the one that very much related to all teachers or educators. Enculturation of STEM We are not limited to STEM, but we also put the AI education for sustainable development. Then this is one of our platform program. Okay, not limited to physical, but can be hybrid or online. And most of our activity is at regional and international level. So, for example, we can discuss with the MOE. So, if we can provide the international certificate, because ISTIC is an international body, yeah? ASM is a national body, so different. I've been with the National Science Challenge since 2004. I was a co-chair for National Science Challenge for many years. So, if you have this ISTIC, we can give you the international, but of course, we have to discuss with the MOE. There are certain criteria for us to get that. So engage learners in STEM, nurturing inquiry, problem solving, innovation culture. So I think cikgu-cikgu pun semua dah very well aware, PGSM is very active in this. Integrates technological literacy, so that's why we put this AI, critical thinking and ethical awareness. One of the big issue, bukan setakat pelajar daripada sekolah masuk universiti, yang graduate universiti keluar nak cari kerja, tak ada common sense. Yeah, so that is a very challenging. Postgrad pun tak ada common sense, main buat je, dia tak ada fikir. So sekarang kita punya interview nak ambil first kali, cari ada common sense atau tak. Kalau tak ada common sense, tak payah ambil lah. You see GPA 4 flat pun tak ada common sense, it's very difficult for them to survive in this kind of world. Empower individuals with skill, navigating change and so on. But this is the one that I mentioned just now, computer science education, focusing more on this coding and robotics. Basically for cikgu-cikgu RBT. Tapi kalau bukan cikgu RBT pun still boleh masih lagi boleh join. Climate change education I mentioned just now. IBSE, so we have different modules. This one I mentioned just now, the OBOR, stand behind the SIP rules, big data. So this one I just put ISTIC, so we hope that we can have some funding, but through co-creation of that workshops ataupun program innovation. Minggu Sains Negara, last year we activated this work, Bio Green Week. So we received, basically this is online based on the social media, so we received many participants, including from Africa, Pakistan, India, and I think Indonesia is the highest number. And many more. It's not limited because this time I locked certain amount of money. It's not huge per project, but we can work together. Nampak aktiviti banyak. Cuma kita orang ada 6 orang je. Macam nak pengsan buat tak juga. So you can see. So we know international conference is not, our international conference is high level, meaning that we tackle from the directors or maybe even kalau kat taraf kat sini PKSU semua, until sampai ke teachers, trainers and even students. So we have to handle this, and hanya ini sahaja yang kena buat. Okay, I think itu saja daripada saya. So, saya ucapkan terima kasih. Tapi sekiranya ada persoalan yang is a burning question, I think I can answer on behalf of this team. Just to make sure that can we check. So, normally everything kita ada director yang akan uruskan permintaan saya. Okay, and then the process will be all the events yang we propose. We have a concept note. I already sent to Cikgu Suhaili. So we have to go through us. Then we also have to discuss the Academy of Sciences Malaysia to see any overlapping. In case of any overlapping, so we will see how, or we can work together with Academy of Sciences Malaysia. Yeah, and then we have to bring these to the governing board to convince them. So now, for example, last year we convinced them that it should not all be organized by us or researchers or scientists, but we think that the students can also do, this kind of organization. So that's why we get the Bio Green Week to co-fund the activities together with the Jabatan Kimia Malaysia. Okay, through Mohd. So I also like to work, for example, with the PGSM. You come as a group, a national body, so that will be a higher chance, instead of coming only from one school or even from one university. Okay, any question? Adik ada soalan?
Nak tanya tak, Prof?
Ya.
bila melihat perlibatan ISTIC ni kan, peringkat yang peringkat yang memang kadang-kadang tak terfikirlah kami yang rokok ni kan, tinggi sangat dia punya pengurusan program-program dan polisinya. Tapi bagaimana nak memasyarakatkan ISTIC ni lah. ISTIC dengan yang rokok lah. Pelajar-pelajar ni anak kita punya feeder juga in the future kan, kita jadi sains dan sebagainya. Tapi kebiasaan memang kita tahu tentang ISTIC, kita tak familiar dengan ISTIC, tapi UNESCO biasa dengar. Tapi ISTIC ni sebab tu kami dah terpanggil lah nak panggil Prof untuk memberi penjelasan dan juga penerangan dan awareness lah kepada kami tentang peranan dan fungsi ISTIC lah. Sebab kalau ISTIC, sebab dia memang bila kita tengok yang pertama dia memang International Science Technology Innovation Center. Dia pada satu badan yang sangat besar ni, dia pergi international lah. Yang memang kami tak adalah terfikir sampai nak pergi ke luar daripada Malaysia lah. Tapi macam mana kita nak main peranan teknik di peringkat bawahan lah.
Saya punya saranan macam tadi, kalau kita ada macam GRSC, ISTIC, tugas kita ISTIC ni nak make sure that PGSM bukan lagi nampak pada peringkat national. So we can partner you dengan Indonesia for example. We can have a student exchange. I think this is also being encouraged. Kita juga ada buat teachers exchange. Kita juga ada hantar yang pergi luar untuk buat training. Benda-benda yang kita boleh fikirkan, boleh mampu. Itu contohnya. Dan masyarakat kan tu, sebab tu kita sekarang punya juga aktiviti yang lebih penglibatan yang ramai. Jadi bukan kata kita turun, kita boleh bawa experts daripada luar turun. Ya, contohnya untuk buat yang IDSA itu memang kita kena import daripada laman alamat, daripada lama, daripada Paris. Other than that, sekarang kita pernah buat dulu, kita translatekan apa yang dalam French to English. Tapi sekarang cakap kita dalam bahasa Melayu kan dia panggil, bahasa Malaysia, bahasa Melayu, dan kita kata mungkin kita boleh translatekan itu. Tapi bila translate ni pun, bila kadang-kadang profesor ke pensyarah yang translate, mungkin maksud dia tak kesampaian pada peringkat sekolah. So kita mungkin perlukan penglibatan. Jadi kita melibatkan dalam kaedah tu. Contoh yang lain, sekiranya kita ada aktiviti dengan peringkat sekolah, ini something that we plan. Maksudnya dengan contohnya research institution dari universiti, pensyarah perlukan data, tapi kita nak didik supaya pelajar-pelajar dan dibantu oleh guru untuk melihat macam mana ambil data. Dan contohnya pengurusan sisa plastik ataupun mikroplastik sekarang, itu yang sekarang UPM sedang usulkan di Tioman. So kita create the module, tapi penyelidik tak boleh berada di site setiap minggu untuk collect sampel. So kita boleh train cikgu ataupun community ya, dengan pelajar. Dia collect sampel, dia buat recording, dia ambil data, dan mungkin sebulan sekali penyelidik boleh datang ambil. So kita punya target contohnya setelah 3 bulan, 6 bulan kita boleh publish the data dia dalam jurnal-jurnal yang tertentu, jadi mengangkat juga martabat aktiviti penyelidikan di sekolah yang mempunyai satu taraf. Itu antara contohnya. Tapi kalau ada lagi contoh-contoh yang lain yang boleh dikemukakan, memang kita all out, particularly on the indigenous knowledge. Tak silap tuan daripada pekalan Jepun, pekalan Greek ke? Pekalan Hulu. Bukan? Okay, sebab I remember last time masa PJSM ada cikgu tu dia daripada tak silap dia area lah, jadi cikgu lecture ni something ada mungkin. Ya kan?
Sekarang kita transfer ke Kedah.
Sebab I remember you dia father. Cuma lokasinya mungkin yang berbeza.
Ya juga, STIC kita pekalan dulu.
Yes, sebab kawasan-kawasan tu dia ada ramai orang asli, jadi macam mana nak penetrate tu, dia hold lots of knowledge yang kita nak usahakan kan. Sebab masa kita pergi dulu, yang ni bukan ISTIC kan, masa saya pergi dengan kelompok orang asli, saya buat penerangan, kalau dalam English dia orang akan tengok saja. Sebab hanya beberapa, dia ada, bila kita buat aktiviti, dia ada 3 lapisan. Yang pertama yang faham English. So I cakap dia tukar semua bahasa dalam Big M. Dalam Big M pun ada 2-3 barisan. Rupanya yang pertama tu faham dengan jelas bahasa Melayu. Yang kedua tu faham-faham sikit, yang belakang tu tak faham langsung. They have to translate. So cakap, boleh tak kita try cakap bahasa dia, language. So we have Professor Stephanie Pilai that already working on the bahasa Kristang, bahasa Portugis Melaka yang dah hilang. So dia kita cuba dapatkan untuk cover balik untuk yang bahasa-bahasa orang asli. Different memang dia banyak satu pergi baling, dia boleh kata. Itu contohnya. Ini Sabah-Sarawak belum kira lagi ni. Itu yang kita cuba memasyarakatkan kalau kata tersebut. Tak ada lagi ke? Kita cuba sikit lah. I think the GISC or ISTIC and UNESCO can help. I think satu lagi kita ni sebagai platform, maksudnya kita juga boleh cuba untuk mendapatkan pendanaan daripada luar. Kita tak kaya, kita duit pun cukup okay. Okay, so we receive, it's okay to tell, we receive 2 million per year daripada kerajaan. Tapi 900 tu dia apa tu OPEX dan juga activity OPEX dan juga dalaman lah kan. And we have about 1 to 1.1 million saja untuk buat aktiviti yang banyak ni, international conference. Sebab kita sponsor kami, kita bayar local hospitality, especially kalau yang datang daripada least developed countries, we have to pay for their flight. Itu yang mahal tu. Sebab dia jauh, kadang dia kena tukar flight nak sampai KL. Sebab tu kadang-kadang kita buatkan di Afrika saja sebab kos dia kurang sikit. But at the same time, kita terima funders. So kita punya untuk activity, we can get 1-to-1 ratio. Kalau kita ada 1 million, kita dapat partnership 1 million. So that our focus. Tapi macam yang apa tadi, yang Aris in Afrika tu, kita contribute sikit saja, lebih kurang 80,000, maybe kita kata lebih kurang 20,000 US dollar untuk 4-5 tahun orang yang cukup banyaknya 4-5 tahun. Kita cheaper je sebab total investment is about 3 million US dollar. So kita 20 million tu macam tak ada apa. But we now learn how to get this big foundation if they want to come to Malaysia. Itu dia kesukaran nak masuk Malaysia tu. Cakap Indonesia dia come, Micronesia dia come. Malaysia sebab dianggap sebagai negara yang kaya. Sebab kita developing country yang dia ada kategori 1, kategori 2. So kita dah termasuk kat sini, jadi sukar untuk mendapatkan dana. But we can try. Okay.
Prof, saya nak tahu networking antara pendidik dengan cikgu STEP di Malaysia. Ada networking dia kita pendidik bersama.
PGSM boleh.
PGSM.
Ya, kalau dengan guru. Sebab PGSM ni dia ramai. Beribu.
Almost 1,000 lebih.
So dia ada connection. Okay, satu saya kira sebut sebenarnya bawah skop Suruhanjaya Kebangsaan UNESCO Malaysia, dia ada tawarkan grant. Pasal sekolah boleh apply, dia maksimum seleksi 30,000. Tapi you kena ada partner lah. Contohnya sekolah boleh buat dengan universiti. Sama ada sekolah nak apply ataupun universiti nak apply. And you can work with us, ISTIC sebagai rakan. Sebab bila you dapat funding situ, baru kita boleh allocate some funding yang kita rasa sesuai. Sebab bawah tu dia banyak tak cover yang dia tak boleh dia tak cover facilitator, punya makan, punya upah semua. So yang tu kita boleh tolong cover. Tapi if kita dapat yang big one, then we can cover. So we can cover about 10% or 15% from you punya total education 30,000 tu kan. So kita boleh dah top up sikit. Itu contoh-contoh dia.
Apa peluang macam cikgu-cikgu pembina kan, contohnya nak berkolaborasi dengan apa sangka guru. Sangka guru. Kita mungkin tak nak pergi jauh lah, pergi Indonesia pun okey lah.
Boleh,
macam
saya
teachers exchange ke contohnya kan. Tapi kita kadang-kadang kita tak tahu pergerakan STEM kat sana macam mana sebab dia orang pun memang student dia pun ramai, cikgu pun lagi ramai.
Ya.
Pastilah.
Sumatera saja isu dia lain. Pulau Jawa lain, Kalimantan lain. Kalau nak yang kita direct ni dengan di Jakarta, Mr. Randy, dan dia pun banyak terlibat dalam kerana education. Yang tadi yang saya cakap tu, pembelajaran melalui empathy tu dengan Universitas Negeri Jakarta. She's a chemist. Saya ingat nama dia ibu apa lah. So dia develop, and dia pun dapat banyak funding daripada UNESCO tu. So macam school juga. So boleh diusahakan ya. So at least PGSM tahun depan, AGM tak adalah kat sini, kat Indonesia.
Bisa Pak, bisa Pak.
Ya, murah. Lebih murah daripada Malaysia kan. Sesekali keluar, bercuti. It's good. I think they are very accommodating. Even dia punya university pun sangat mudah untuk kita sama. Sebab dia orang kan ada yang dia punya kategori untuk dapatkan DRS tu, Dr. Randers. Part of that is actually the community service. DRS bukan doktor 2 kali ya. Dr. Randers, you kena complete certain amount of hours. Macam tu lah lebih kurang untuk buat aktiviti masyarakat. Itu yang nama dia DRS tu. Kita ingat doktor 2 kali. Tak adalah penting pun buat PhD 2 kali. Okey, kalau ada apa-apa boleh terus pada kontak saya dekat sini tak ada. Boleh dekat info tadi boleh juga, ataupun terus kepada chairman. Tapi kalau nak will be easier consolidated to PGSM, mungkin ada apa yang nak dicadangkan. Sebab contohnya kalau yang ISTIC and UNESCO tu, you still have to write to us. Sebab masa ni kita dah tutup, tapi kita boleh buka balik. Sebab kita punya meeting dengan governing board is on the 19th. So kita dah submit kepada Academy Science untuk perbincangan, dan on the 19 kita dah masuk. Kalau yang ISTIC and GIAC, sebab kita nak tap for the regional lah sekurang-kurangnya. Boleh tu.
Dengan macam perjalanan sekian di Thailand macam mana? Sebab saya pernah pergi
Dia bahasa, masalah bahasa.
macam contoh kan, macam dia ada satu tempat park nama dia Safari World tu. Dia macam lebih kurang macam lebih kepada macam, tapi kepada safari lah. Kalau pergi situ pagi saya petang memang tak keluar lah, sebab dia memang betul-betul dia.
Kalau pagi petang tak keluar dah makanan biasa.
Macam maksudnya dia punya tu macam USS lah. Pergi pagi balik memang sangat besar, sangat banyak benda-benda dalam tu. Sama juga dengan pusat sains negara Thailand. Sangat-sangat besar dan banyak bangunan compare dengan Malaysia lah.
Ya.
So saya rasa macam dia orang macam lebih advance dari kita lah Thailand.
To be honest, dia punya Thailand ni dia berbeza sebab pelibatan masyarakat dia sangat dekat dengan universiti. Masa saya dekat di pengalaman Prince of Wales University, hanya ini ada 4 orang selalu ramai kan, dia hanya pergi makan. Kalau dia tengok dia punya PSU, Prince of Wales University, dia bawa petani dia, bila habis musim menuai dan sebagainya, semua menunggu tu, masa tu saya pergi dah lama, masa tu tengah famous cerita Nemo. So dia kata nelayan banyak tangkap Nemo dekat laut sampai hampir pupus. So apa dia orang buat, dia orang break di universiti dengan kerjasama universiti fakulti dia tu, and then dia create entrepreneur area, dia sediakan kolam-kolam, jadi petani tu datang break Nemo, so boleh jual semasa antara musim dan sebagainya. Dan pada masa yang sama, dia control population supaya Nemo yang dekat laut tu tak habis. So dia jual kat yang dia breed dalam. Maksud dia, ini kena bagi tahu universiti dah banyak kali dah saya beritahu. Universiti kena create macam satu peluang. Jadi contohnya kalau cikgu boleh datang untuk buat aktiviti di sini. Ataupun yang macam tadi kan pertanian dan sebagainya. So itu community yang datang buat itu. Ini dia ada hasil jualan. Yang tu kalau boleh diusahakan, contohnya kalau STEM education ni, artinya fakulti sains okey je. Saya okey je, nanti saya beritahu lah saya jadikan. I nak buat ni, kita nak buat ni, cakap kan. Kata okey, PGSM berminat. So kita boleh create. Contohnya sebelum ni kita ada masa sebelum pandemik sebenarnya, saya dah prepare dah. Masa saya jadikan, so kita dah prepare dah. Macam kita bagi satu makna khas untuk online learning. Jadi bila ada je pandemik, kita already, fakulti sains dah ready. Kita dah sediakan tulis screen semua. Tak tahu sekarang ada tak ada, jadi saya smart classroom. Kita tu smart classroom semua tidak ada akademi. Jadi cikgu-cikgu keperluannya sekiranya perlu boleh contact dengan Persatuan kalau kat sini nak create something. Yang ni mungkin terlalu baru saya nak bagi tahu, tapi sekarang kita tengah plan untuk master secara kerja khusus, master sains dengan pendidikan. Jadi biologi dengan pendidikan, tapi pada tingkat master. Sebab saya tahu kalau cikgu nak ambil subjek pure science tak boleh, sebab dia kena ada elemen pendidikan. Itu pun saya pernah komen dengan pihak MOE dulu. Kita nak cikgu-cikgu, terutama STEM teachers, to do MSKK, master dalam bidang sains is about enrichment. Tapi dia orang masih lagi fokus pada pengurusan lebih kan untuk master. So, this is something like kind of policy that we can come out. Kita rasa kalau PJSM kata, keperluan cikgu sebenarnya untuk enrich, mengairkan lagi ilmu dalam bidang. So maybe we can talk to the MOE, bagi boleh lepaskan. Jadi cikgu boleh buat. Contohnya kalau dekat sini, kompetisan kita ada, nak tengok kat luar. Okay, nanti boleh tengok kat luar tu dia ada Master Kimia Analisis. So it's all about analytical. Master, kalau biologi tu kita ada Master Biologi Tropika. Ada contoh kan kita banyak aktiviti tersebut. Fizik ada Master dalam fizik bahan. Saya pun lupa. And then matematik ada dua. Matematik berkomputer dan satu lagi statistik. Statistik gunaan. So yang tu boleh pengayaan. Nanti disebut as well pada teacher mungkin dia tak buat benda lain. Tapi disebabkan benda tersebut kita cuba create satu lagi master pendidikan dengan sains. Mungkin want to understand education lah, we hope to do that. Itu lambat lagi lah, mungkin lagi 2 tahun lah. Prosesnya lama. Kita sedang menyediakan kurikulum baru. Sebab saya pun dekat UPM ni macam seminggu, 2 hari, 3 hari. Kadang kat ISTIC, kadang kat sini, kadang dekat kat mana-mana. Okay, sebab kita ada banyak engagement dekat luar. Selalunya engagement kat luar ni, macam saya nak ke Beijing ni, kita dah buat dah engagement sekarang. 2-3 kali meeting online, tapi still kena jumpa sebab nak minta duit, still kena, we have to be there and present itu betul, pitching, jumpa lagi beberapa. I'm not limited to that. I think we also hope that to work with yang industry partners. Yang tu satu lagi lah. China memang banyak duit. Okay, so if we can tap that, it will be good. So, tu. Saya sangat berharap lah. So, kita meeting kat sana bukan pergi berjalan kan. Bukan saya sampai Isnin pagi, terus masuk meeting, 2 tempat yang berbeza. The next day, lagi 2 tempat berbeza. Then, pagi-pagi Rabu tu dah balik ke sini. So, then kalau sempat, terus masuk meeting yang lain pula. Sebab kita punya meeting international, because we have to work with Africa, kita punya meeting selalu pukul 6 petang, 7 petang, dengan Latin selalu pukul 11 malam, berjaga, baca buku hari tu. Very interesting, there's something different. So, dia panjang, cikgu semua stres. Dia besok lagi panjang. Okay? Tapi kalau ada apa lagi, boleh terus cikgu Swahili. Dan kita harap dapat bekerjasama, terutamanya contohnya dengan UPM lah. Sebab kita pun nak cari, UPM ni setiap PTJ dia, fakulti dan juga institut, they have their own STEM activity. Okay, tapi sebab saya dulu sebagai pengurusi jawatan kuasa untuk UPM, kita monitor, kita tengok siapa buat supaya tak overlap, ataupun kalau yang besar kita kerjasama. Contohnya macam GISC, ISTIC, kita kerjasama dan become flagship untuk UPM. Bila flagship UPM, fakulti-fakulti pun dia boleh donate sikit lah secara in-kind, kita tak bagi duit sebab menggunakan kepakaran, menggunakan lab. Sebab sekarang berbeza, sekarang semua charge. So you have to discuss. For example, last time pun nak pakai dewan besar tu kan 35,000 satu hari kan. Okay. So yang tu kalau dia nak buat terus, it's not easy. So nanti kita negotiate dengan pejabat-pejabat yang tertentu. But it is a concrete evidence. No free lunch. Okey, kalau macam tu saya sudahi dulu dengan kata-kata supaya semua guru-guru sentiasa bersemangat melakukan STEM. STEM sekarang jadi big topic semula. I was dekat mostly baru 3 hari lepas. Mostly nak come up with the data process technical executive on STEM. So STEM sekarang bukan limited dengan MOE saja, KPM pun kena, dia akan turun balik ke universiti, kemudian MOSTI, tak tahu lagi beberapa, mungkin ada beberapa lain kementerian. So dia on off lah, tapi dengan semangat yang ada pada kalangan ahli-ahli PJSN, so kita berharap dapat mengangkat semula martabat STEM ni, terutamanya isu paling besar sekarang. Kita rasai bila pengambilan pelanggan STEM ke universiti pun menurun. Tapi untuk pure science satu kita tak ada masalah. Dia nak yang lain-lain khusus tu. Pilihan dia 7-8 ataupun bila dah offer nak 5. Dan satu lagi pada peringkat postgrad pun sudah menurun. Kita nampak. So dia orang cenderung mencari pekerjaan luar dan sebagainya. So kita harapkan daripada peringkat sekolah lagi dengan guru-guru, kuasa daripada guru-guru PSN mengangkat balik. Okey, so selamat beristirahat pada malam ni dan selamat bertempur dalam besok hari. Sekian wabillahi taufiq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih ucapkan kepada Yang Berbahagia Profesor Kemis Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman di atas perkongsian santai yang cukup mantap dan sangat bermanfaat tentang ISTIC untuk kita semua sebagai guru-guru STEM. Bagi menghargai kesediaan Yang Berbahagia Profesor Kemis Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman untuk bersama-sama kita dalam sesi santai. Dengan ini saya ingin menjemput Encik Nur Suhaidi bin Ali dengan diiringi oleh Puan Kemis Cik Budi untuk menyampaikan cenderamata kepada Profesor Kemis Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin Abdul Rahman. Dengan saya mohon
ke depan.
Saya ada baju ni. Sebab saya daripada pagi sini kan. Betapa kat sini tak sempat nak tukar baju.
Baik, dan terima kasih diucapkan kepada Encik Nur. Hari ini Encik Nur Suhaidi, maafkan saya masih lagi baru. Saya baru saja mendaftarkan diri PJSN, jadi nama pun masih tersasul-sasul lagi. Baiklah ya, kita boleh kita datang ke hadapan untuk sesi fotografi ya, bersama-sama dengan yang berusaha Prof.Dr. Mohd Basyaruddin. Dengan sekarang Bapak silakan.
Duduk depan, Prof semua. Kita ambil dari depan je. Yang lain boleh duduk lah, supaya semua boleh nampak. Diri nanti sama. Duduk. Boleh nampak atas. Oh, mana belakang masuk. Yang belakang. Okey, yang belakang berdiri lah. Yang belakang berdiri senang. Okey, satu. Okey, tengok depan. Okey, tengok depan. 1, 2, 3. Satu, satu, dua, tiga. Satu, dua, tiga. Selfie, selfie. Lock, duduk.
Kita training ni. Selfie.
Macam tu.
Tak, cahaya tu.
Tak nyata.
Dia off-kan yang satu, dua, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, kejap. 0.5. Satu, dua, tiga, 1, 2, 3.
Kita sampai sudah.